Yeah, I do think this protocol, can be safer and more effective for therapists who want to work in the psychedelic assisted space. And again, as I mentioned already, our last cohort was 30 to 35% therapists, and we're getting more and more into our program, which is beautiful. But one of the reasons this protocol is so valuable for the therapist is because it aligns much more closely with the pace they're already used to working at. Most therapists are trained to track clients slowly, titrate emotional material, and build safety over time. And that's exactly what the protocol reinforces, right? Instead of throwing someone into this massive, potentially destabilizing experience, even if it's not destabilizing, just this massive experience, the work is done in a manageable and in these manageable openings where the therapist can actually support the process, right? And that's important because most mental health clinicians are familiar with like psycholytic doses, right? So I'm in my internship for therapy and doing ketamine, and the ketamine that sessions that I'm working with are psycholytic doses, right? Lower doses where the participant stays, relational, where you can talk, track, intervene, and do work in real time, right? But many people coming into 5-MeO, they don't realize that even a low dose of this molecule can unexpectedly tip you into a full non-dual or ego dissolving experience, right? So we still have to be trained to work with the potential outcome of a full experience, right? Now that could be rare, but it's still a possibility, right? So there's no guarantee that the session stays psycholytic. So let's just kind of put that out there. And when it shifts fast. But so again, therapists need to be trained to handle the full spectrum, in my opinion, right? The gentle, titrated work, and the possibility of a complete breakthrough. And again, just because you're licensed or experienced with trauma or skilled in talk therapy doesn't mean you're automatically prepared to navigate somebody through non-ordinary states, full somatic discharge, identity disorientation, or like this rapid dissolution that can come from this medicine. Working in altered states, especially this altered state, very specific altered state, it's a different skill set, and it needs its own training, right? So what makes this protocol safer, in my opinion, is that it teaches therapists how to approach the process gradually, how to stay oriented, and how to support clients over time rather than trying to integrate a single overwhelming event. And again, the repeated sessions give therapists the space to understand the participants' patterns, defenses, relational tendencies, and nervous system responses. They get to build rapport, build safety, which is important, right? Um, and then actually guide the client through a developmental arc, right? Instead of this one-off peak moment. And again, this also, reduces the risk of destabilization, not just for the clients, but for the therapists themselves. When the work is spread out, when there's a structure, when there's predictability and pacing, the therapist stays grounded, especially with good training. They're not trying to manage a tidal wave. They're supporting a process, and it is a process, right?